Minasan konnichiwa und willkommen, and today is another review, but this time we're going to be taking a look at one of the million Nutcracker interpretations, and this one is going to be about Care Bear's Nutcracker Suite, which originally aired on TV and on video cassette in 1988, the latter distributed by Kids Classics Home Video. It starts out with a ballet production of what else? The Nutcracker. Unfortunately, not everyone is on board in this ballet. And then Miss Walker, who is their teacher, obviously told them a little history about Le Casse-Noisette, or El Cascanuenses. And then it cuts to the Care Bear Cubs, Hugs and Tugs, who are in desperate need of an ornament they want so much. Thus, they look everywhere for it. Bedtime doesn't have any left. Brightheart doesn't have any left. And then we see the Care Bears and Care Bear cousins decorate the tree. And then Funshine appears, telling the rest of them about a sad little girl named Anna, voiced by Tara Strong, by the way. And then Funshine decided to take Grumpy to go on that fantastic ride to see our little girl Anna. And we're also introduced to Anna's little brother, Peter, voiced by Stuart Stone, the same kid who would voice Ralphie from the Magic School Bus, but that's for a different video. Then we see the Funshine and Grumpy and Anna meet for the first time. And then out of nowhere, the Nutcracker appears, or Le Casse-Noisette if you live in France or Quebec, or El Cascanuenses if you live in Spain or Latin America. And then he's followed by a group of rats, led by the Rat King. No, not the one from Ninja Turtles. I meant the blue fat motherfucker, voiced by Mr. Beastly himself, John Stalker. And then they have a big chase scene, where they, of course, enter Peter's room. You know, where they... And then, later outside, the Nutcracker regains part of his memory, and he explained to them that the Rat King and his rodent men work for an evil vizier, voiced by the Top Cops announcer himself, Don Franks, to take over Toyland and Christmas, or Navidad. So, Grumpy and Funshine obviously took drastic measures and used the Care Bear stare to call for backup, which consists of Tenderheart Bear, Braveheart Lion, Lots of Heart Elephant, and the two stowaways, Hugs and Tugs. And then the team traveled to Toyland, obviously trying to leave Peter with the two cubs, but they ventured into Toyland anyway. And then we cut back to Mrs. Walker and her students. And then we transition to the scene where we see the vizier's castle. And he was really pissed off that the Sugar Plum Fairy didn't tell him where the ring was, which of course infuriated him. And even badder news when the Rat King showed up with no Nutcracker. Believe me, I've seen this cartoon before. Ever since the day I was born. which was 1989. And I tell you, it's just crazy. And then we see the Care Bears, Care Bear cousins, Anna and the Nutcracker just enter Toyland without any harm. It's almost like traveling into a time machine. And they didn't have enough time to enjoy the sights. Well, maybe a little bit. Before settling in for the night. And then we see Peter, Hugs, and Tugs obviously sneak out as well. And of course, Peter tried to warn her sister Anna about the toys that were bound to attack. And then the toys started attacking the Care Bears and Care Bear cousins. But then we find out later that the toys weren't trying to attack Toyland, weren't trying to attack the Care Bears. They wanted to take the train, so they would get the hell out of Toyland in an instant. But the Nutcracker told them that they were actually in Toyland to save it. Save it? Huh! We tried to save Toyland, and look what happened to us! Oh my goodness! What happened? Who did this to you? It's a long story. Well, we have all the time you need. And that's exactly what they had, was a little bit of time. Because the Nostalgia Critic obviously did the review, why not me? After the Harlequin told them about the Vizier and his army of rats, overthrew the prince and took over Toyland. And then we transition a few scenes later with the Care Bears, Care Bear cousins, Anna, the Nutcracker, the Harlequin, Peter, and Hugs and Tugs venture out. And of course, the Rat King and his henchmen, Rumble and Gummy, obviously wanted to try and eat the Licorice Bridge so the Nutcracker wouldn't get away. But of course, that plan backfires. Just like in those Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoons from Warner Brothers. Or those classic Woody Woodpecker cartoons from Universal. And then the Vizier gets fucking pissed. And then we transition back to Miss Walker and her students. And then we see Anna, the Nutcracker, the Care Bears, Care Bear cousins, and the Harlequin get into a boat. And they were on their way to Toyland Castle despite the rats' barricade. And of course, we see our stowaways, Peter, Hugs, and Tugs, in a jail cell. As the Nostalgia Critic mentioned in his version of the classic special. And then we see the team just split into two. With Grumpy, Tenderheart, Lots of Heart, and the Harlequin in one team. And Anna, the Nutcracker, Braveheart, and Funshine in the other team. And they were searching high and low until they came up nothing. But then they found the Sugar Plum Fairy. And then a scene later, we see Peter, Hugs, and Tugs get out of that jail cell when they tricked the Rat King to actually get inside the jail cell himself, or the dungeon. Then we see the Care Bears and Care Bear cousins freeing the Sugar Plum Fairy from captivity, who, in the second part, was obviously being held hostage by the Vizier. And speaking of which, the Vizier eventually grabbed the nut covered them in taffy, and turned everyone into firewood. Which I bet was... well, it was actually a unique concept of turning someone into firewood instead of stone. Like in most stories. Like Homer's Odyssey or something. Then we see Peter, Hugs and Tugs have a chase scene with the rats. In terms of getting the walnut, while the Nutcracker's coda is being played in the background. Which obviously was a pretty damn good idea. And then the Sugar Plum Fairy puts the ring on the Nutcracker's finger, and he was turned back into a boy, and the Care Bears, Care Bear cousins, and the Harlequin back to their original form. And then the Nutcracker made sure that the Vizier's spell over Toyland was gone permanently. And he did just that. And then we see a ray of sunshine. Toyland! It's back to the way it used to be. It's so beautiful. Ah, my home. And then the Care Bears, Care Bear cousins, Hugs and Tugs, Anna and her little brother Peter all said their goodbyes to Les Casse-Noisettes. And then we all realized that it was actually just a dream. No Toyland, no Prince. Anna, meet our new next door neighbor, Alan. Alan Prince. Hello, Anna. Hello, Alan. Oh, be going this way. Oh, silly old nostalgia critic. And then Miss Walker concludes the story. And from that day forward, Anna and Alan remained the best of friends. And then we actually see the guy appear. And the kids realized that Miss Walker was actually Anna the whole time. Goodbye, children, and have a Merry Christmas. And a Merry Christmas to you, too. Anna. Then we see the Care Bears, Care Bear cousins, and Care Bear cubs just giggle, and we're obviously watching from above. And thus ends the cartoon. Well, what can I say about the special? It has a lot of unique charms to it. Well, how can I rate it? Well, I give the special, which is actually a 1-hour episode of the TV series, an 8 out of 10. 4.5 stars. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, amigos, au revoir und auf Wiedersehen.